The invitation sat on my desk, its gold-embossed letters winking under the soft glow of my San Francisco office lights. As if daring me to ignore it, James and Victoria cordially invite you. My brother's wedding, the social spectacle of the year, promised to be a parade of wealth and ambition, orchestrated by my mother's relentless planning. Ava, 34 and perpetually underestimated, traced the edges of the card, wondering if I could dodge the inevitable judgment awaiting me in Napa Valley. 10 years ago, James had laughed in my face when I abandoned medical school for a tech startup, declaring I'd be a failure. Yet here I was, CEO of Atlas Industries, a $2 billion empire I'd forged in a Menlo Park garage. My success a secret I guarded like a hidden blade. Why reveal it to a family who saw me as a disappointment in jeans and hoodies? I leaned back in my chair, the city's skyline glittering through the floor-to-ceiling windows. A decade of 18-hour days, coding through nights fueled by coffee and stubborn dreams, had built Atlas from a flicker of an idea to a titan in tech. My family, though, remained oblivious, celebrating James's every corporate step at Chen Enterprises, Victoria's family business. While I toiled in obscurity, they thought I was a mid-level coder, scraping by. The irony curled my lips into a wry smile. Miss Ava. My assistant Clara's voice cut through my thoughts. Crisp and professional. The board meeting starts in 5 minutes. I nodded, setting the invitation aside. Also, she added, her tone neutral but eyes sharp. Chen Enterprises sent the final contract for the semiconductor deal. They're expecting signatures by Friday. The $50 million deal, a lifeline for Chen Enterprises' floundering product line. And they had no clue they were negotiating with me. Atlas, through subsidiaries and holding companies, was their savior or their reckoning. I'd kept my ownership veiled, letting my Uncle Simon act as the public face while I pulled the strings. Thank you. Clara, I said, my voice steady. The wedding loomed this weekend, a 60-mile drive to Napa Valley, and part of me ached to skip it. My mother's voice echoed from her latest call, dripping with pride for James and disdain for me. Your brother's marrying into the Chen family. Ava, do try to look presentable for once. Presentable, as if a billion-dollar company built in sneakers wasn't enough. I stood, smoothing my tailored blazer, and glanced at the invitation again. The memory of that Palo Alto dinner 10 years ago stung James's smirk as he told our parents I'd come crawling back when my startup failed. My father's silence, my mother's pursed lips. I hadn't crawled. I'd built, poured every dollar, every sleepless night, into Atlas, while James climbed Chen's corporate ladder. I'd acquired their suppliers, outmaneuvered their competitors, and turned Atlas into a name whispered in boardrooms. Yet to my family, I was the black sheep, the one who'd thrown away a real career. Clara lingered at the door. Will you attend the wedding? Miss Ava. Her question was polite, but her gaze held a knowing glint. She'd seen the contracts, knew the stakes. I picked up the invitation, its weight heavier than paper. I wouldn't miss it, I said, a quiet edge to my voice. My mother wanted something presentable. Fine. I'd wear a simple black dress, designer but subtle, the kind they'd never recognize. Let them underestimate me one last time. The decision settled like a stone in my chest. I'd go, not for James or Victoria, but for myself, to face the family who'd dismissed me, to stand in their world of champagne and chandeliers, knowing I held the power to upend it all. The semiconductor contract was just the beginning. Atlas's acquisitions, my silent chess moves, had positioned me to control Chen Enterprises' fate. As I headed to the boardroom, the city's pulse thrumming beyond the glass, I felt the familiar fire of purpose. Napa Valley awaited, and with it, a reckoning dressed in black. The Napa Valley sun bathed the vineyard in golden light. But as I stepped into the wedding's orbit, a chill settled over me. The estate sprawled before the church, a vision of opulence with 500 guests mingling under crystal chandeliers strung across ancient oaks. Champagne fountains bubbled, and flowers enough to choke a botanical garden framed the scene. Ava, 34 and a stranger in my family's world, smoothed my black dress, its subtle designer label invisible to those who valued flash over substance. Was this extravagance a celebration of love or a desperate bid to cement the Chen-Porter alliance? The answer hung in the air, sharp as the scent of roses. Ava. My mother's voice sliced through the courtyard's hum, her air kiss grazing my cheek without smudging her flawless makeup. You came, and you look presentable. The word landed like a barb, her eyes flicking over my dress with faint disappointment. Behind her, my father stood deep in conversation with Mr. Chen, their laughter oblivious to the truth I held their business in my hands. Where should I sit, I asked, glancing at the ornate seating chart, its calligraphy a mockery of inclusion. My mother waved a manicured hand. Oh, we had to shuffle things last minute. Victoria's family brought so many important guests, tech moguls. You understand. I understood perfectly. To them, I was the embarrassment. The dropout who'd forsaken medicine for a pipe dream. My mother turned away, already greeting a Bay Area venture capitalist. While I stood, the weight of their dismissal pressing harder, the church doors opened, and I slipped to the back, my heels silent on the stone floor. The ceremony began, a pageant of wealth. Victoria, radiant in her designer gown, glided down the aisle, and James beamed with the smug certainty of a man who thought he'd won life's game. I watched, a shadow among the glittering crowd, my mind drifting to Atlas Industries. 3 of Chen Enterprises' major suppliers now answered to me. The $50 million semiconductor deal was their lifeline, and they didn't know I held the plug. The irony was delicious, James marrying into what he thought was power, while I, the sister he'd mocked, controlled their fate. The vows echoed, syrupy and rehearsed, and I let my gaze wander to the stained glass windows, their colors fracturing the light. 10 years of slights replayed in my mind holiday dinners where I was excluded from photos for not dressing expensively enough. My mother's sighs when I mentioned my startup. As the couple kissed, applause erupted, and the crowd surged toward the reception hall. I lingered, scanning the seating chart again, hoping for a mistake. No Ava. My mother's vague wave haunted me. Important guests had taken my place. The sting was familiar, but sharper here. Amid the excess, I followed the throng, the vineyard's warmth fading as I entered the grand hall. Crystal gleamed. Laughter rang, and I searched for my name card among the silk-draped tables. Nothing. A prickle of humiliation crept up my spine. But I straightened. My dress a quiet armor. Victoria's voice, sweet as artificial honey, cut through my thoughts, looking for something. Ava. She stood behind me, her reception dress shimmering, every inch the perfect bride. I turned, meeting her eyes. My seat, I said simply. Her smile didn't reach her gaze. Oh, didn't anyone tell you we had to prioritize? You'll find a lovely spot with the kitchen staff. The words landed like a slap, and a nearby guest stifled a laugh. At my brother's wedding, I was relegated to the margins, but as I stood there, the fire that built Atlas flared within me. They wanted me in the kitchen. Fine. I'd serve them a lesson they'd never forget. The Napa Valley reception hall shimmered with a brittle kind of perfection, as if one wrong note could shatter its crystal facade. Victoria's words, a lovely spot with the kitchen staff, hung in the air, her saccharine smile daring me to flinch. The snickers from nearby guests. Silicon Valley's elite draped in tailored suits and sequins prickled my skin. But I stood rooted, my black dress a quiet defiance. A decade of their condescension surged through me, James's laughter at my dreams. My mother's sighs, the family photos that cropped me out. This was their stage, their triumph. But I held the script as Victoria turned away, her laughter trailing like perfume. I slipped my phone from my purse, my thumb hovering over a number that could unravel their world. Sis. James's voice slithered from behind, champagne flute in hand, his tuxedo pristine. Don't make a scene. You've always known your place. His smirk, so like the one from that Palo Alto dinner years ago, ignited something molten in my chest. My place, I'd built an empire while he played corporate prince. I met his gaze, steady and unyielding, and pressed the dial. "Jack," I said into the phone, my voice clear. Eyes locked on James. "This is Ava. Cancel the semiconductor contract with Chen Enterprises. All $50 million of it." The line went silent for a heartbeat. Then Jack's crisp, "Understood." "Miss Ava." James's glass slipped, shattering on the marble floor, a jagged sound that stilled the nearby chatter. Victoria's smile froze, her eyes darting between us. "What are you talking about?" James demanded, his voice cracking. "What contract?" I tilted my phone. The Atlas Industries logo glowing on the screen, the $50 million deal your new father-in-law's been banking on, the one to save Chen Enterprises' quarter, the one my company was set to deliver. The color drained from James's face, his confident facade crumbling like cheap plaster. "Atlas." He stammered, "That's impossible. Atlas is a multi-billion-dollar company." I finished, my voice ablade. "One I built. James. While you and our parents decided I was a failure." Victoria grabbed my arm, her manicured nails biting. "You're lying," she hissed, her bridal poise unraveling. "Atlas is owned by Simon Porter. Everyone knows that." I smiled, cool and deliberate. "Simon's my uncle, a figurehead. I'm the one who calls the shots." Care to call him and check the ballroom's hum faded. Guests pausing mid-sip. Sensing the shift, James's eyes widened, a gray sheen creeping over his face. "The semiconductors," he whispered, "Dad Chen's entire expansion. Depends on me." I cut in, my tone even, just like I know about your 3 failed product launches, the $200 million in debt, and how Chen Enterprises has been limping on borrowed time for 18 months. Victoria's father, David Chen, pushed through the crowd, his usual swagger faltering. "What's this about our contract?" he barked, his bow tie askew. I extended my hand. "Calm as a still lake, Mr. Chen. We haven't been properly introduced. Ava, CEO of Atlas Industries. You might know me as SP Holdings from our negotiation calls." His face slackened, as if I'd struck him. "You're SP," he choked. "The one buying our suppliers." "Guilty," I said, my smile sharp. "Your due diligence team should have dug deeper. A quick background check would have linked me to Atlas." My mother shoved forward, her face flushed with champagne and fury. "Ava, stop this nonsense. You're ruining your brother's wedding." I opened my banking app, the screen glowing with Atlas's quarterly reports. "Nonsense. Would you like to see the numbers? Mother, or the ownership documents?" James lunged, his fingers digging into my arm. "Fix this," he growled. "Whatever game you're playing. Fix it now." I held his gaze, unflinching, like you fixed things when I asked for a $10,000 loan to start Atlas. When you laughed and told me to get a real job. His grip faltered, and I pressed on, my voice low but lethal. "Or should we discuss the $500? Dollars you've been siphoning from Chen Enterprises to cover your gambling debts?" Victoria gasped, her designer dress whispering as she whirled on him. "You've been stealing from my father's company." The guests' murmurs grew, phones flashing as they recorded the implosion. Mr. Chen's face turned purple. "Security," he roared. "Get them out." I raised a hand, stopping the guards cold. "I wouldn't. Unless you want Atlas to call in the $150 million in Chen Enterprises debt we now own. It'd be a shame if it all came due at once." The guards froze, power shifting like sand underfoot. Victoria sank onto a chair, her mascara streaking. "This can't be happening," she whispered. "Not at my wedding." I leaned in, my voice soft. "The kitchen staff does have a lovely table." "Victoria, perfect for a family in your new position." The silence was deafening. The ballroom a tableau of shocked faces and half-raised glasses. I turned, my heels clicking on the marble. and walked out, leaving chaos in my wake. The kitchen table they'd set for me had become their undoing, and I was just getting started. The Napa Valley night swallowed me as I stepped outside. The vineyard's cool air a sharp contrast to the ballroom's suffocating drama. My Tesla waited at the valet stand, understated and sleek, a far cry from James's flashy sports car. The chaos I'd left behind Victoria's sobs, Mr. Chen's shouts. My mother's frantic attempts to salvage dignity faded as I slid into the driver's seat. I'd toppled their house of cards with a single phone call, and the world would soon know, as my driver, Mike, pulled onto the 60-mile road back to San Francisco. The weight of what I'd done settled in, not regret, but clarity. The kitchen table had shown their true colors, and I'd painted mine in bold strokes. By Monday, the fallout was everywhere. The San Francisco Chronicle screamed, "Chen Enterprises stock plummets 40% amid embezzlement scandal," while the Wall Street Journal dissected James's $500 theft, his name now synonymous with disgrace. Victoria, ever the pragmatist, filed for annulment within days, her socialite dreams too fragile for a sinking dynasty. Atlas Industries moved swiftly, absorbing Chen Enterprises' valuable patents and supply chains in a $300 million deal, stripping away their bloated management, starting with James's department, my office, high above San Francisco's skyline, buzzed with activity. My team executing the takeover with surgical precision. I watched the city's lights, a silent victor in a game my family never knew I was playing. My parents' voicemails piled up, a digital trail of their unraveling. The first was sharp, my mother's voice hissing. "How could you humiliate us like this?" My father's gruff call us, "Ava, we need to talk." By the third day, their tones softened. "Please," creeping in. "We didn't know." "Ava, please, let's fix this." I didn't reply. Not yet. My focus was Aeon Plus, its $2 billion valuation climbing as we reshaped Chen's assets into something leaner, stronger. The Palo Alto social circle that once fawned over my parents now whispered behind their backs, their country club invitations drying up. James, I heard, had fled to their guest room, his corporate crown tarnished. Each morning, I sat at my desk. The garage workbench from my Menlo Park days a quiet reminder of the nights I'd coded through doubt. Clara, my assistant, filtered the flood of media requests, her efficiency a shield against the noise. "Another reporter," she said one afternoon, holding up a Post-it. "They're calling you the tech titan who toppled Chen." I waved it away. Labels didn't matter. What mattered was the work building. Not gloating, yet the voicemails kept coming. My mother's voice cracking in the latest Ava. "We're sorry. Just talk to us." I deleted it, my heart a fortress. But a flicker of curiosity stirred. What would they say? Face to face, stripped of their illusions. The question lingered as I signed off on Atlas's latest acquisition, a $50 million supplier deal that sealed Chen's fate. The kitchen table's lesson echoed true colors show under pressure. My family had shown theirs. But what would they do with the ruins? As I leaned back, the city's pulse thrumming beyond my window, I sensed the story wasn't over. The next move wasn't mine. It was theirs. 3 months after the Napa Valley wedding, a faint scent of expensive perfume drifted into my San Francisco office, pulling me from a quarterly report. The door opened, and there stood my mother, her designer coat a touch faded, her posture less certain than I'd ever seen. Had she come to beg, to blame, or to bridge the chasm I'd carved with a single phone call? The voicemail's angry. Then pleading had stopped a week ago, and now she faced me, a stranger in the empire I'd built. I set my tablet down, the silence between us heavy, as if the kitchen table's shadow loomed over us both. She sat uninvited, clutching her purse. The receptionist didn't recognize me. She said, her voice soft, "I had to show ID to prove I was your mother." I nodded, leaning back. Security's tight since the takeover. We've had curious visitors. Her eyes, once sharp with judgment, flickered with something new regret. Perhaps your father and I. We've been thinking, she began, about how we misjudged you, how we failed to see your strength. I raised an eyebrow, unmoved. And what prompted this clarity? The headlines, the country club snubs. She flinched, a tear tracing her powdered cheek. We were wrong. Ava, we chased James's flash, not your substance. We're proud of you, even if we don't deserve to be. Pride. The word felt hollow after years of their dismissal. Proud now that it's visible. I said, my voice steady, but when I was coding in a Menlo Park garage, scraping by, would you have cared? She shook her head, voice breaking. No, and that's our shame. I stood, crossing to the window. San Francisco's skyline, a testament to my grit. Her words stirred no warmth, only questions. What did family mean when trust had been a one-way street? I pressed a button on my phone. Clara, bring the package for Mrs. Porter. My assistant delivered a thick envelope, which I handed to my mother. What's this? She asked, fingers trembling as she opened it. A chance. I said, details for Atlas's $50, $100 small business loan program, listings for affordable Oakland storefronts, and contacts for honest advisors. Build something real. If you're willing to work? Her eyes widened, scanning the papers. You'd offer this after everything? I met her gaze, unflinching. It's not helpful. It's an opportunity. No shortcuts, no favors. Earn it, like I did. She nodded, clutching the envelope, and left with a whispered, thank you. As the door closed, I glanced at my old workbench. Its scars a reminder the kitchen table taught me who valued me and who didn't. A year after the wedding, I stood on a Silicon Valley stage, the spotlight warm against my skin, 1,000 eyes fixed on me at the annual tech summit. Was I the tech titan who toppled Chen, as the headlines crowed, or simply a woman who'd refused to stay at the kitchen table? My keynote loomed, a chance to shape how the world saw Atlas Industries and me. The auditorium buzzed, venture capitalists and coders alike waiting for my words. But my mind drifted to a moment months earlier, when I'd sat with a young entrepreneur in an Oakland cafe, her eyes bright with the same hunger I'd once known. That mentee, Sophia, had pitched her startup with trembling hands. Her $25 seed funding from Atlas now fueling a thriving app for underserved communities. You believed in me, she'd said, her success a mirror to my Menlo Park nights. When belief was all I had, I'd mentored her through setbacks, sharing lessons forged in my crucible. Trust your vision. Ignore the noise. Now, as I adjusted the mic, I spoke to the crowd, my voice steady. Success isn't a headline or a dollar sign. It's building something that lasts, something true. I learned that at a kitchen table, where facades fall and character holds. The applause was thunderous. But my thoughts turned to my family. James, no longer the gilded son, had sent a note from his San Jose analyst job. His words, simple. Thanks for the wake-up call. His humility, earned through honest work, surprised me. My parents' Palo Alto boutique, funded by a $20 Atlas loan, had become a local gem, their hands now calloused from effort, not entitlement. They'd learned, as I had, that value outshines vanity. I paused, the crowd leaning in. Today, I'm announcing a $1 million scholarship for underrepresented tech founders, because the next big idea deserves a chance, not a pedigree. The room erupted, phones flashing, the moment cementing Atlas's mark. Back in my office, I sat at my workbench, its worn surface grounding me as I sketched plans for a $500 million AI division. Atlas's next frontier. The headlines had faded. Chen Enterprises a footnote. Victoria a distant memory, but my work endured. Sophia's app trended on the App Store. My parents' boutique drew crowds. James clocked honest hours. I traced a scratch on the wood, a relic of my garage days. The kitchen table hadn't just exposed my family's flaws, it had revealed my strength. a compass for every choice since success. I realized wasn't toppling empires or silencing doubters. It was building one step, one coder, one scholarship at a time. As San Francisco's lights glittered beyond my window, I saw not just a city, but a canvas for what came next. The kitchen table was behind me, but its lesson truth over illusion propelled me forward. My legacy not in what I'd torn down, but in what I'd built, and would build still.